the commission is desirous of terminating this process and resuming, but staff advises we do not have another date on the calendar. I will publicly state to staff that trying to do this in one night is never a smart idea. Next year, or in 7 years, book 2 nights back to back. Let's all be happy. Having said that, I think we have some housekeeping issues we have to take care of first. I'll call up John Della Gloria. We're on the record.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've made a pest of myself this evening, and more important, I've also made a fool of myself this evening. And I want to publicly apologize to Mr. McDermott. I've known Michael for, I think it's 114 years now. He is a man of great integrity. He is the last person in the world who made a statement that I took the wrong way, and I want to publicly apologize to you, Michael.
All right, John, thank you. That's very gracious of you. Michael, do you accept his apology?
Oh, absolutely. As John says, we've known each other for 114 years, and we've been through some battles together, and, so.
All right, we're over that one now. I believe there's one other issue.
Mr. Chairman, if I could interrupt you, I'm sorry. I'd like to extend my apologies to Tanya and to Nixon. I believe some of my comments were taken as being critical of staff, perhaps misleading us, and I certainly didn't mean for anything to be taken that way. They've been a pleasure to work with. Nixon more than Tanya, but they've both been very nice to work with.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, nothing wrong with honesty. We accept blatant honesty here. It's quite all right.
Yeah.
All right.
And thank you, John.
And I believe we have a clarification in Article 4 on this minimum housing scenario here. So let's sum this up in the eyes of the planner. What are you hearing?
What I heard is that you only wanted the 500 square feet studios at 20% of the project only in the special purpose districts. However,
Overlay and special purpose.
that doesn't, thank you, Mr. Held. However, that does not address the issue of elsewhere in the city. So now you don't have a minimum, it would revert back to the 750 square feet minimum throughout the city unless you tell me that that language stands.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Held.
so the language that's proposed in the draft
Yeah.
says that it's multifamily, residential, and mixed-use districts would have 550 square feet minimum.
All right, that covers the city.
Yes, that would be for the rest of the city.
Right.
And does the commission accept that? We understand that. And then 500 in the special
550
districts.
for the rest of the city, 500 and
In the special districts.
Yeah, okay.
That's
If
what
the-
we
I can go with
essentially
that, yeah.
voted on.
But if
All right.
if the special districts make up the majority of the city, so why not leave that little window for those who want to develop at 750 square feet?
It's a minimum. Anybody can develop at 750 who wants
I'm
to.
saying the minimum. So why not leave that if it's not
Well, the recommendation
of a
though was
difference.
550.
Yes.
See,
550 for
the whole
that
city.
specific?
no, for the city as a whole, to go down to
Multifamily,
550.
residential, and mixed-use districts.
And then we're just shrinking that slightly in the special districts,
Yes.
which is not unreasonable. We'll take a vote from the commission to support that.
I mean, just a point of clarification, the mixed-use district entail this special purpose
Right,
overlay.
and so we're specializing the special
Yeah,
purpose
so
district.
I
we'll go
think,
down to
that
500.
language should be maybe revised to say, the 550 would be in the multifamily districts, and then the 550 multifamily and the 500 will be in the special purpose, which will also encompass the mixed-use projects.
So we're going to put multifamilies in 550 square feet.
No, we're allowing 550 square foot
That is a
studios,
clarification.
which would not accommodate a family.
He just
That's your minimum structure, your minimum dwelling unit size throughout the city.
May I?
Yes, John, try and bring a little clarity to this.
Mr. Held,
That's what I'm
Mr.
saying,
Held
but
has
the
said it
proposal-
correctly.
Okay,
No, the
You had in
proposed
front of
language
you a
say
document.
550.
yeah.
The recommendation was
Multifamily and
550 square
And then
feet
not-
throughout those
Yeah.
those specific multifamily.
We're on the same
Okay,
page.
Right.
Mr. Held said this correctly. All you did was pass a an amendment to your 550 and carved out 500 studios, 20% in the special purpose districts. That's all you did. I believe that 550
That's not-
passed for the rest of the city.
Okay,
Not,
that's-
okay, that's what I think.
Yeah. We
No,
never
we didn't
actually
agree to
addressed
the-
it that way, but
Yeah.
I concur
If
with
you
you.
No,
Not-
no,
Yeah, it hasn't.
No, that's not how it was explained
okay,
to us.
well, okay, then as far as I'm concerned, do anything you want, but as far as the amendment went, that passed.
Okay, so we're 500 in the special districts. Now it's a question of the rest of the
You're
city.
500 in the special districts only for studios, and then no more than 20%.
Of each
can-
project.
Right.
All right, so now we need to go back and visit the rest of the city. Folks, we need to make a decision on the rest of the city. The recommendation in the plan is 550 square feet minimum housing unit, allowing developers to build whatever the market will bear as long as they don't go below 550.
I'm not putting families in a 550 square
yes,
feet
but-
apartment. I'm
sorry.
not.
I'm
Okay.
fine with it, sir.
All right.
All night long, and I'll
You'll go with the 550, Mike? Kenny?
I'm sorry, but yes, but when we started this, it was 550, I was fine, I was good with 550 in a restricted area. That was what I was, and that was what the gentleman came up and said was the original intention.
Right.
550 in special purpose districts. And the difference between 500 and 550, I'm not sure is much bigger than a bathtub, so I'm not gonna worry too much about it. But we're now splitting hairs between 500 and 550 feet, depending upon where you are in the city.
Right.
And I was fine originally with 550 in certain areas. And so now it's 550 citywide, and I'm not comfortable with
Well, no, it's 550 except in the special districts, which is 500.
That's even worse.
which is the same thing.
But that's what we just did. We moved the 500 in the special districts.
Exactly, but
And
we didn't
leave-
affect the rest of the city,
Right.
which isn't at 550.
But it isn't everywhere in the city.
Sure it is.
It's only for college dormitories, multifamily apartments.
But you just told me that we couldn't do that.
No, I said I didn't tell you you couldn't.
You
I said
You said that was
specific.
against the law.
No. I said the people discriminating against who went in is against the law. Having saying that you want only this type of development to go only in a special area is usually what planners will advise against.
Well, whether you say it or you're implying it now, it's the same thing.
What are you talking about, Ms. Bull?
You just said repeat what you just said as far as what the uses
I
were
said
going to
for
be
multifamily, residential, and mixed use,
No, you said something about college students.
college and
dormitories.
university dormitories.
Okay, and I mentioned that as well as elderly, the elderly homes or what did I say?
There's
Elderly
A,
apartment
do- a
complexes.
college dormitory is a specific
So-
kind of use. It's a specific kind of use. A dwelling unit, so you would have college students going in there.
That's what I mentioned along with the elderly.
You were talking about something else
Well,
along
we're
with that.
word playing right now because that's exactly what I said. The only thing that I did was add the elderly to it. Just as aggravated as you are, I am too.
I'm not aggravated. I'm trying to be very clear. This is something that I do for a living, and I'm very clear in my language. You cannot, the Fair Housing Act forbids you from saying that only certain people can go into a dwelling unit unless there are condominiumized or like even the senior housing is starting to have some issues with that, saying only seniors can go into
But
a
to your point,
55 and
I
over.
just said that. You said college dormitories.
College
I
dormitories
said
is a certain
college
type of use.
students.
Right.
Saying
College-
the same thing, we're just using different words. And then I just said, I meant what you said. And then I said something about the elderly. You just said it.
Well, at the bottom line, our decision is this. We've approved 500 in the special districts. Do we now adopt
Correct.
550 for the remaining parts of the city?
And it's specifically for multifamily apartments and mixed use
So that eliminates what?
and your college dormitories.
So what does that eliminate, actually?
That would be pretty much your, like your single-family neighborhoods.
So the,
Well, that doesn't, but it wouldn't apply, right?
Correct.
so the single-family neighborhoods would still be 750.
No,
You
it's-
actually, those are like, say, R1 is 1,500 square feet, R2 is
Oh,
1,000
R1 is
square
two,
feet.
Right.
You already have those established in your
Right, but
code.
This
That
is
was
this is
about
strictly.
R1.
this
It's
is
only
strictly
the multifamily
Yes.
apartments and mixed use that this would apply to.
Right.
So the
Alright, so-
multifamily apartments would be 550 square feet
Minimum,
minimum.
Minimum, correct.
means they could build the 750 if
They
they
could.
wanted to.
Or 1,000,
1,000,
or whatever their performance says would
Now,
work
the
for them.
likelihood of them building at 750 versus 550.
It's market driven. If there's a market for multifamily,
Correct.
they will build it.
Guys,
And they will
most
come.
of you do not live in this city,
They will build it.
so.
No, but
yeah.
I understand both sides of this issue
So
nonetheless.
you're gonna put a single family in a 550 square feet apartment? Cause I'm hearing multifamily, so. I just need
Multifamily
some-
just means multiple units. It
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily mean a family. It can be a single person, it could be two people. It could be a family who wants to be in a part of that unit. Now, one of the things that happens with multifamily is that as a developer is preparing his pro forma, he decides what that ratio would be. How many one bedrooms, how many studios, how many two bedrooms would work financially for them. So we are just saying, look, the minimum size you have to do is 550 square feet. Can't be any smaller than that. You can't go for the micro units that are going elsewhere. This is going to be your minimum size unit.
And that would be limited to a studio.
That would be 550 square feet. You can do a one bedroom for that.
Yeah, IKEA has good models for that. Okay.
What are you going to fit in a bedroom with 550 square feet for an entire apartment?
Yeah, but
A bed and what? Your TV mounted on the wall?
No, as I say, IKEA does very well with those floor plans. All right,
you
let's-
guys work it on
But I
the-
just,
We need to move the question or we'll be here all night.
but just the last question, I mean,
Yeah.
I asked the question a minute ago.
Go ahead, Bob.
We've allowed now 550 square feet citywide in apartments. And that wasn't
Well,
what we
in
talked about.
multifamily units, multifamily areas.
What's an apartment?
Yeah.
not our.
Every apartment in the city of North Miami can be as small as 550 square feet, and some smaller.
No, not everywhere in the city could be smaller. You've carved out 500 only in those special purpose districts.
What I just said is every place in the city of North Miami, every apartment in the city can be 550 square feet, and in some areas smaller.
That is correct. That
That
is what
wasn't
you
what we
agreed
talked
to.
about when it started.
Thank you.
We talked about reducing the size in areas that were promoting development. That was what the gentleman came up and said hours or days ago when this conversation started, and now it has morphed into every apartment in the city can be 550 and some smaller.
When I originally presented this, when this is coming forward, this gentleman spoke before I spoke on this particular topic. Because this, I would have told you right then that this is, obviously applies to all multifamily development throughout the city. I'm not standing up here, arguing for this one way or the other. I'm explaining to you the things that you need to make your decisions. Whether you want to believe the market will carry it, whether you, as Ms. Boole says, no
Like-
way, no how, not gonna happen, it's totally up to you. I'm just explaining to you what it reads as.
And I understood everything you said, every single word, the first, second, and third time. But I'm just saying that wasn't the intention when this began, was not to reduce the apartment size citywide to 550 square feet.
That was in the draft that was presented to you.
And,
Yes.
and when we sat in your office, the draft was described to me as that's not the intention. The intention was to do studio apartments in the NRO. And that's what I was told.
I wasn't present, so I.
Well, you get a hall pass for that.
Yeah.
But that's what I was told, and that has morphed considerably to where we are right now.
That was not the original intent when this was written.
Thank you.
All right, so. We need a motion to decide this one way or the other.
I dealt with the 500 square feet for those studio units with the 20.
Yeah.
I dealt with it.
Okay.
But that
But-
issue was moved. What we have to move on is the 550.
That I can't
I
do,
make a motion in the
I can't do
multifamily
that.
areas that we adopt the 550 square foot minimum.
All right, motion is made to adopt the 550. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Seconded by Kenny Each. Do we have any further discussion?
I don't
Hearing none.
agree. I do not agree.
Is there any further discussion?
I was just gonna say, I was quite surprised to hear that Solar Media had 400 square feet apartments up there. I must have been sleeping at that meeting. So, I mean, if, you know what, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, you know what?
All right, so you seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
No.
All right, so we are 4-2 on that one. The motion carries. We clarified that point.
Please
All right.
move on to 5.
Now we go into Article 5. We'd like to get done before the sun rises in the east. This is accessory uses and structures. Report of staff, please.
Article, you're jumping to 6 or 5, sir?
Five.
No, I thought this.
All right,
isn't that
5 is development standards.
Did I miss an article in here somewhere?
No, Article 5.
That's,
We're moving on to Article 5
Isn't
now.
that
That's
accessory
6.
uses and
Yes.
structures?
Yes.
Covers a lot of things.
oh, I'm so sorry.
All right.
Yeah,
accessory
Mr.
uses
Chairman,
and structures.
point of order. Quick. I don't think that it's fair at this time, at 12:30 in the morning, to start tackling this items and the remaining 3 items that are before you. The next section you're going to tackle is a very, very intense, and everybody's got to be sharp. People are tired. Staff's been here all day. You all members have been here all day. I understand by talking to different individuals that there are dates available. It might not be convenient to be where they want, but and it's not for me to say what date to pick, like next Wednesday or the 31st that's available, but I do think it is wrong on behalf of the public that is sitting here. I think it's wrong on behalf of the board members having to do this. This is a very serious item, and I know the city staff really wants to get it done, and the management wants to get it done, but I think we're now at 12:30 in the morning. The consultants and everybody are tired. I believe that you all should consider adjourning, postponing this, and moving
All
on.
right, thank you.
Why don't we
Kevin.
make it
I-
tomorrow
I
night?
did ask the staff for dates. They weren't able to come up with a consensus. Has staff changed that position? Do we
Yes.
now have a consensus?
We,
We,
we have availability for June 1 for outside council, staff, as well as reservations at this room.
all right, so we can go June 1. Can everybody?
I'm
hear-
not gonna be here. I'm gone. I'm out of here the 29th. Why can't we make it tomorrow night? Let's make it tomorrow. Let's get it over with.
Tomorrow night is
you know, I'm
Haitian
gone.
Flag Day.
29th,
Are they using this room?
I'm not sure, but that is my country's day.
June 1's Thursday night, I'm not available.
I'm Haitian. Haitian Flag Day is tomorrow. Our Independence Day is tomorrow.
that's,
Today's the 18th.
what's tomorrow? Tomorrow's what, Thursday? Either that or make it Friday. I don't care. Make it Saturday. I don't give a.
So
Make it
okay.
Saturday, make it Saturday during the afternoon. What the hell, John, you know? I'm not going to temple. You don't go to temple, you make it.
I don't mind. Saturdays okay. with
I
me.
am so sorry, but I'm going to be at the BG Whiskey Creek Hideout kayaking, so just in case anybody wants to know where I'm gonna be Saturday.
All right,
Enjoy.
that eliminates the 20th.
So
We don't do anything on Sundays. Now you're on the 22nd,
22nd is a CRA board meeting.
23rd.
23rd
Well,
is
wait,
a
why
special
can't
city
we do it the
council meeting.
22nd?
The 22nd, I won't be available on the 22nd. 23rd, you have the North Miami induction ceremony.
Thank you.
So let's do it early.
What about the 24th?
24th,
I have a conflict.
Outside council is
I
not
might
available
be
on
able
the
to get here
24th.
later.
Yeah, I can do that.
Or let's do the 24th of
Wednesday.
May.
24th of May.
What time,
Okay.
council? What's your schedule on the 24th?
I have a 5 o'clock hearing in Pinecrest, but it shouldn't last long. So
Traffic
I'm-
will be a killer.
Well, what about the 25th?
Yeah.
25th,
Wait a minute.
I'm already booked here for another event.
Well, if we, can we make it, at 7:30 on the 24th?
Well, actually, it would have to maybe be a 7:30 at the earliest to give you a little bit better
So you
window.
can have some travel time? Is that okay?
We got Jennifer here,
If
she
you
can,
would.
you know?
I can't represent both the board and the city's interests.
John did that really well. You want to trade for a night?
I'm happy to try and come.
So, all right, look,
Do you want to
can
try
we,
for 7:30?
If you'll wait for me, if I'm late.
Can you do
yeah,
that,
well,
Councilman?
yeah,
24th,
call
7:30?
us if you're, so we know. Let's target the 24th at 7:30, see what we can do.
Mr. Chairman, do you want to secure an alternate date in the event that the 24th does not work out?
You better, but
Looking for a back door.
What about that first date that you
I'm
threw
down
out?
to 29th.
June 1st.
What about June 1st as an alternate
Mr.
date?
Beach was.
well, see, Kenny's out of town.
Each, you go out of town on the 29th?
Yeah,
What about the 28th? What day is the 28th?
That's a Sunday.
Is it Sunday?
29th is the holiday.
What about the 26th?
It's a Friday night.
What's wrong with Friday?
25th?
You guys don't want to hang out with me on a Friday? No?
Well,
Secretly, they'd love to.
Friday.
I know they would. I know they would. I know this crowd.
So what, are we gonna meet, when are we meeting here?
We're looking at the 24th, May 24th at 7:30.
Okay.
Okay.
If Fridays are good, then what about this Friday?
This Friday?
Yeah, I can do this
All right.
Friday.
Friday's good?
Friday's good.
Tomorrow?
Too
No,
close?
Day after.
day after tomorrow.
I mean, day after tomorrow? No, I'm not going to be available. That's the 19th, I
Yeah.
won't be available.
All right, so
You
we're
have
in
to
the
prep for
24th.
She
That's
has to
where it
prep
has
for the
to.
kayaking. You gotta stretch.
All right, we're gonna go the 24th. Are there any further objections to the 24th?
No,
So
no objection.
Are we all happy with the 24th?
Is that enough time to make?
John, is that the,
24th at 7:30, right?
yes.
No, the city have enough time to get the notice?
Then it'll be a
You
short
don't have to
meeting.
notice that.
Thank
We
you.
don't have to notice it, right?
no, you would need a motion to continue.
Chair will entertain a motion to continue to May 24th at 7:30.
May 24th at 7:30.
Motion made by Charles Ernst, seconded by Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Mr. Pishon, didn't hear you.
Aye.
Ah, wonderful. All right, this meeting is adjourned until the 24th.